Yeah, I think it's all good because Cathedral, one issue over the years, I've said a lot about it. And in our report, I hate the media airwaves, not much information regarding the details of it. And as well, that is when the Minister of Communication gave that deeper insight. What actually it entails. By reporting I saw some of your friends in the media on some other platforms. I'm more catching Ghana for say some affair. Cathedral na mo say omo disikano musikano everything has been accounted for. Enti abeya kra yam papa akufo ado na kusi boaten nom chew. Na bibisa mo say dia na Ghana for ya no wronger. Some of these jokers are the people who have taken over the media airways. Omo misinform me amanfo. They are just selling their ignorance to general public, and for me that is very dangerous. Debbie, so only analytical sense. You better go sit somewhere. Don't do politics. Cause politics and your comedy. Now you have cracky jokes and money passing. When the information and you need to delve deeper. Sabaya ubehu, anyantia siya nyumu, and sana wo kasachi nipa manipa tia. What make sense? But people very often advertise raw emotions, and I can't say no gum. And now better now delve deeper into this particular report. Now we had that kind of commentary now for the Amanakona. Then you understand why over the years you suffer at the hands of some media people in this country. The misinformation and the disinformation campaign still in play. They are just selling their ignorance to majority of the people because they have platform. And for me, that's my worry. To start with, JB, Yateha Anna Aya Shraj, Aya Honorable Okudato Ablakwa, and the Koma Shraj say, Yama contract, say in National Cathedral. But Oshema, well, there has been a lot of infractions. Shraj say a proper investigation conclude say the entire contract na Yama for National Cathedral is illegal. Because your friend is saying some of the procurement, your friend is saying irregularities.
There were procurement breaches.
Exactly. Laws and that's why they go through now were circumvented. Yet I've always argued say competitive tendering has always been the default position of the Procurement Act. Unless there is an emergency, nobody can convince me that the National Cathedral was an emergency that we needed a sole sourcing. But they handpicked this gentleman, and for design alone, we paid a whooping $21 million to somebody to design a cathedral for us. JB, it's not about any majuma. It is about your friend is saying best practices around the world. Yahubi. And you also gauge it against the economic circumstances prevailing in the country at a particular point in time. At the time, what was the state of the country's economy? The way a play and the agitations are not Ghana for a year. These are some of the things. The National Cathedral Board of Trustees now commission internal audit report because this report wasn't meant for the public. It was for internal your friends use and consistently you could see that to be desired. And for me, it's not just about how monies were used or whatever. Makacha said the idea you conceive say yes cathedral and that is why I've always been saying this whole thing is a senseless enterprise. Because to begin with, no time and now you womb at the time. Now President Jakasa me Masenya me boss me cathedral and me baba see cathedral. We all thought President Baba appeal for Fanama Christopher and as for Adonitimoni. It was going to be some kind of a
that was it initially.
Exactly, that was how it's supposed to be.
Captain
Exactly. Yaniba ya hosono. Na we found out the sabo mysikam. We found out the sabo mysikam. Parliament in charge of your finances. Also more approval. No, that layer was circumvented. They were never consulted. Nobody was informed. President felt like I am the Lord of all kings or whatever, Lord of lords. Into the sabo mysikam no at $50 million. Seed money. Now for second for no for $15 million. No, so they are more. So at the end of the day, monies are for the state. Committed to other reasonable ventures. I'm not Ghana for some fashion. We were investing these monies in some of these senseless enterprises. And again, so we had the cost at the time now. baby and na ye kwa kosi a dan no na ye si judges dan as fresh as 2024 na wo ho ye bu judges dan nyina gu. So I'm asking those journalists on radio saying say yankopa abinum che no, have they sat down to quantify the amount of money involved in the buildings na you pull it down? And now your friend say passport office there was this private organization that you could put in you must Uganda more compensation for pulling down their distance.
Yeah, sure.
Sunday man I'm told say judge baako kra de agufuo resign here because Nema na economy he felt like it didn't make sense. I'm gonna resign continue here. These are the realities I can wasem. And in some number, instead of us to talk about the issues, how it started and the fact that we didn't need to commit state resources to some of these enterprises because nyansa bi edim no nipa da sani anhu nyansa ntie se nsam na ye ka no sabi e wo se ye de sa sika no kwaya de foforo anja bi de na ye me ya kra sambro so no se nipa no mudi ade we yanum ya asofo mpanimfo every Sunday. They have the opportunity of meeting helpless, poor people in their various churches. They understood the reality of the economic circumstance and their prevail at the country because we also for Sundays who church members. Nearman Koso Kroma, a man for Mudo Musica Akoto, the government bond and then as a form government by force taking it away from them. Some people died in this country. Yeah. So we nipa. These are some of the realities as a who choke you. Now we say say your mind seek a cathedral, it could be some other time, but not this time. But these individuals are the very people who ushered government pampered the Kufuado and directed him say we should go ahead and build a cathedral at the time people were suffering. These were people who were supposed to intercede. They say these are individuals. Esen komujina or mine for nanaimu. Emu se baby or mine no kwane there. Yatu ya boasi yes idea we are. But these are the people who were ushering government say yam fasikan konkoya there. After you got to corruption is bubano. Then so for we say resign. What resign I will call him. Oh, resign I call him. No. When it started, we told you said that thing was a senseless enterprise in the first place. Again, I don't know who come no. There is no money be a de kwakwaya sadia. Na sikana na eba wa no na free. Motia na no fiscal na say na free ba. We also for now to say I catch us here for my sika. Now the monies are flowing now. Isn't it incumbent upon you so be bisa sikana free for na eba. Now, Obisa say you state Sikano Obisa and Parliament may approve now. You sat there and some were taking fat salaries. I know the day I was the other buy and we boss my resign. I'm saying that these are just cowards because there's a second committee could do her Ghana for him catch and say a pamachow for say Mukanyans as some yenti. For how many times I may know the Captain Martin as one time I say Ankasada particularly was senseless. But so for young coupon. I'm not saying you money. If you couldn't see this thing, now your friend is saying, "One hour that one as one hour that nipa." So, JB, the fact is, this whole cathedral thing, the amount we just a tip of the iceberg. I'm telling you, sir. Oh, I'm telling you. That is why government is going to go ahead to get a proper forensic audit. I'm betting me scrutinize it bit by bit, every detail of the various contracts. Now, maybe if we want to do prosecution, we can still go ahead and do prosecution.
Absolutely.
Because our first trial report now, I recommend this that the board of trustees should be prosecuted.
Headed by Apostle Opuni Arambwa.
Yes.
Opuni, a former
they should be prosecuted. Because we live in a country here, Obiso a board member, state undertake a project.
Opokuina rather. Yes.
State is undertake a project.
Yes.
Now board member, I say, my bomb was 20 or so about Ghana was saying, Kusiwati. Or not Bogana, Bosnia, your friends because money and you're ready. What kind of nonsense is this? In a civilized democratic dispensation like this, obi timi so arba bia sika no free bad machine na yanim. Baby okofa sika na buy aduma moya cannot even generate half of that particular money. And then we sit here and we keep quiet. So I think there, you see, sa niyama we cannot fly. Makata say one thing Ghana for will never forgive President Mahama say. Sa cathedral same way you be German and how every single individual so we suffer when we yes wo fasie when we hwan you every single person involved in this senseless enterprise they push away Ghana for Ezika to go here must be prosecuted. And for me until that is done we will never rest. And I've listened to a lot of comment even saying so just your man for kana yen sign Kosi cathedral kroma ebesi cathedral kroma biem it will never happen. Because a mistake, so the Ghana for Sika Kosi Cathedral, maybe everything will turn upside down. Because Ghana for will not rest. Because there be land now, we can use it to build the biggest children's hospital in West Africa. And for me, it will be a dear to give us that particular strong awakening. Say there was a time when some individuals wasted our money, wanted to do this, but you're turning into something very sensible. Atenasia omo anya your friend is saying Yadisi Children's Hospital. And that hospital will be the biggest children's hospital in West Africa. I bet me Alpine Avenue for research and then as for Bema man for free outside Abba be taken care of. Now it me yes I man for me no a bet me boy than some of this cathedral because you kroma yesum nya me dada. Asoro bia no kroma only church.
As a church of Pentecost for Christ in prison there church.
Yes, and see ya kase your friend say ya baby asum nya me a. Places ever soon yame abu Pentecost for kwakosi kakra ya se ya frɛ ba bi gomwa o sahefa esi wonye no moye wo ho your friend say ha na wo we Independence Square na wo we
Parents Chapel.
Exactly. If you look at the current yes I'm saying say the current economic circumstances of the country should not warrant and as a my whole kwan say the oman sika kwakwa sanse gunu no and every single person be oka ho na kwan ye fa so a procurement breaches. Sika momo momo na yira yehu na nipa ka cha say it was reversed by who prove ni say na yakeka sansem hu we nyina agu na ye no akọ and kwabra ne betina radio saka say oh yankopo be chow what kind of you say journalism is that? So I'm urging government to be on top of this particular issue. Any single money it won't be and then ababeda be say it's not just $58 million and then sana you signed the 34 million.
Yes.
I be kan ho and rise it to over $97 million. I gave be not here. I dear ba ko betimi dia show for e ya mana ayo okwa ensuo gu a enkotere ne emoyefa say double na edware mu. That is how much we
train na your rent and that's so hono
and they are paying for it.
And they are paying for it.
And we see these are some of the things that must change in this country. We cannot live in a country where people do some of these things, people do some of these things and we say when we do some of these things, our mind will never grow. We must begin to teach people lessons. Say, there are consequences.
Touch not my anointed.
Yeah, oh, my your friend is saying, people were jailed for willfully causing financial loss to the state.
Yeah.
This time around, this is foolishly causing financial loss to the state. So because when they were doing it, we told them they knew the consequence. They knew that we are not going to finish this thing. And this will be willfully causing financial loss to the state. No, Kojera. What about will be a foolishly causing financial loss to the state? Because these are individuals who are supposed to know better. You understand? So I think that we are going to be on this cathedral till the end. Now you're making sure that the proper forensic audit is done. Every single person saw your software, saw your manyo, because this is the time as you send a message to people. Say, whenever you are in prominent position, you are not there because you are the finest brain in town. You are there to serve people. And oh yeah, the others say nipa don't know more money because I dear moye MY tinumfa so nipe wu abra na sa nema we koso. Now not everybody was downgrading Ghana.
Yeah.
Among for Bob Bosia Krakoba win nabi. Among for Sika I invested I say Montomo people were suffering, people were dying. For the first time we saw aged women doing demonstration in Accra and be a software who is way mobile and they were out there urging government I know that we didn't get cathedral. This is what we got. And our expenses and it's not about we for Sika it is about how these Sikan were used. For instance, how do you explain paying $21 million to be on your design now in a country at the time not SNK, and there is absolutely nothing to show for today? And then other your friend is saying procurement when as for now. Offer report here on one case or more report. It doesn't even speak well of the entire cathedral way. And I'm happy the president has given a directive say the board of trustees should be dissolved.
Yeah.
You dissolve it shouldn't just end there. Now you make sure say every single way be or say you're prosecuting must be prosecuted. Somebody can for
Mamenya quick one nana ama embremu. Also as part of the contract, say non-renewal of signed agreements for Nehemiah Group. The contract between the National Cathedral and the Nehemiah Group was initially 1 year, starting from March 9, 2020, and renewable based on agreements of both parties. As noted on page 8 of the signed contract, this has, however, not been renewed as it was supposed to have been done. Breakdown of all payments made to Nehemiah Group after March 2021 is as follows. Consulting fee, $350,000. Travel and expenses, $26,541. Supply expenses, $118,672. And a legal fee, $28,000 plus other expenses, $301. What need now boom about $523,521. And only in Koma, ye di ho and anopa sisia ewa ha no museya. And also still a lot of controversies. Rama.
Jebi, Nehemia group ya na mde twaso.
Okay.
Fellas Kwachofosu last week say presidency of Akufo-Addo claims Nehemia group is owned $1.85 million. But the company insists actual debt is just $155,616 per minya side we me screenshot from 3FM online on man ade da Nehemia group ne say a car or mine ebetua de ama wo mo no $155,000 $616
yeah.
But President Akufo-Addo abam presidency so per report that one say omo betua $1.85 million and e de ama Nehemia group company no ye adwuma ne say adwuma na me ye no e ka no ye calculate bi asa de obro so na e even less than $200,000
yeah.
But presidency when nyina e kire say national cathedral na me share nyankopon bo se nyankopon bo na se be president ya me say aso dan kese de a nyankopon no munyam no some of these revelations ne man dey di pefe say eye ade a omo plan bibia in opposition.
I see.
Say ye ba mu a ye be create avenues bebra ye betimi dey dey e de abo man ne kro no e de anya wealth e de anya ahunya de at the expense of ordinary Ghanaian, the vulnerable in the society. Share JB.
Yes.
National Cathedral revelations enya na eba but the hard drink kakra ne say fellas Kwachofosu eba be address the nation be catch Ghana for say yati $58 million but contractors be the certificate aba some of them to na moka $58 million e ka $39 million so kra da wono mo a eno so kra ne nya dey yentua
na sa ka no kra adwuma be na kwa ne ye ya all this certificate na be da sa
na wo matutuo no
ene na adwuma kwa de ba be
amena donko na wo ma bo no yes I'm reading in part of one to one airpine tonton ma wo mo every wo no sam na na wo matuo no a ya bo mo ka $58 million no e ka additional $39 million da ho na me hwe se president Mahama wo be hwe hu ni se na Akufo-Addo one the government officials as gashe muntua because Ghana for brand nuisance taxes etua wo Ghana ha say JB ya bre hwe ye ka judges quarters e dwuri ye digu ye the late president Mills Mahama bre so mu koji loan e na di be sister judges quarters no na wa rage de ma judge for e di say ni ye bu ni e di agu fom all in the name of say be the president ya me si asoda na say wo hye nyankopon ba e ye state ni coffers na wo so do nsabom one kasa no use one kasa resources
na Ghana for contribute Ghana so Captain Crowd be koye so cement scanner so ntine se kakra na e wo keno for ya
Ghana for ya kache nyankopon se ye paso ye pede aso dan bebrebe a etwa Ghana ahie yi aso dan bebrebe a Monday Tuesday Wednesday kopim Sunday twe card baba no e de benya na chese egu kam de afa so de benya na ya enti e wo so my Ghana yetimi spend sika close to $100 million say ye see National Cathedral ekobubu adwapade ye kobubu adwapade na be ye oka e ma na be beto wo man so na wo no wo leadership na memmo na wo bae na wo bebu ye no na timamu no udwet timamu ni hu sei hwe Waterstone Realty Limited esiu Ghana buy $120 million Ghana cedis what the call dollars me $4.7 million because wo adwapade esi one story building no National Cathedral nti yabuagu enti Waterstone esiu o mine no $120 million taxpayers money taxpayers money $120 million Ghana cedis I will say a tebri edifri wa mine state coffers mu near the come Waterstone for because one the assassin one aka assassin na your property e wo so wo be si wa so dan wo hwehwe animu nti no wa be say na dwapade to what say na dwapade a wa value the property say $4.7 million trianisi kafama no Ghana ye kwaya na ase ye baye enti se wanyina sebe empanifo a yede ye wura hye wo mumuo ya yenya kokodro wo mumuo mo nso mehwe me de ya bobra me medi o man ninya me mepa ehunyade we have the men ye de ye kese ye beso o man ne bewi akire no wo use se in the name of say me see asodan e de me nyankopɔ ne bewi akire na se jebi asodan no akoda no koro no ba ye use asofo no mu binom asofo no ma wo mo kwan na ye use o mo ne de abokoro no edu ba bi former Pentecost chairman Apostle Opokunyina no adan politician 2024 yeti kroma running mate no opebi
wona wo kan na say
na me kan say
na so bia wa
na me kan
so wona wo ka so opebi
yanti Ghana ha na ne ye ka Opokunyina pe running mate
say na ya tesen
no wa dan no ho politician na omo artisen bebrebe o ma no mo pe running mate no omo do so ada yanti kwa say chief of staff kra former chief of staff fremo prime no so pe running onya bi obedi atisem de say bebre
I see
or dani politician but ade ha dwene ne say Ghana for no mu fi say so gullible ahwe wo dia wo pa Apostle Opokunyina ya wona na board of trustees ono na da no ma aban mi fra say so prosecute no wo be hu de da Church of Pentecost members be ye wo krom ase omo betwa hia kra say asori man konko share 40 days fasting and prayers witch hunting na wo nya bai for ya huntel jebi if you are not witch when they be wasting the time say obi a wanya witch ye kwani akwa hunte no hwe ka ma body ato wo man no so na ye sunsum taxes de aguti mamufuo so nuisance taxes na be wi achi na ebu akonta say yakose for properties etua judgment debt ni nyina achire no ene judges quarters ya hwe judge for na je bi ebubu am quarters ni gu ye afa ko rent apartment wala bon ye de ma wo mu
sir
o man ni tua dollars
wala boni
laboni cantonment laboni ni na sa judges ni na jebi na judge no otene quarters mu na so akobu agu a ubu agu so onyi ne niam no mpe ba bi e ma no nkonkotena
asemu
ya correct apartment taxpayers money ene ye enti sasofo no mu ama wo mo kwan ni politicians aka bomu a destroy wo man no anya junk economy o man na bose be nkwase akahwe ya debt to GDP agyebi ye kan ko ye akoduru be say over 721 billion no national cathedral nkan ho bi akan ho bi
yeah
junk economy enya no national cathedral ho akontabu nkan ho bi akan ho bi enti sa wo you osofo na so wa ma ho kwan na ne politician aka bom ne madu omani nya ne madu omani awu a se mere no se ya prosecute wo mo hwe ne mo anya se bi nkwase de bi antiocho nipa so bo a Ghana ase because ade ba kwa hwe se MPP fo ya do man ya hye wonsa 8 years wasum wo man every year bia no finance minister call parliament yeah allocate budget to various ministries departments agencies baby after 8 years be account for your deeds eduma we sika de ma wo no brane bebu hu accountants kan bia fa nsase a face wo man ne mra na wo se an ya we chanting na mo kwan na mo de na mo so no emre ye ni nka so se ne etie bia mo be ko opposition de mo didi ye ne no ye ba ye bedi mu bi sebe nya nkwase asem wo ka we che ga na ni sebe nya nkwase asem wo do man na gina ka no esum taxes de agu o man no so hwe natural resources a wo sum export de ko ni nyina chere nya junk economy adwuma na wo ye ni bebu hu akonta the audacity say wo be gina ho na be ka kire Ghana ni sai ade na NDC aban anase aban we kwan amode ye na mo so no ye ba ye bedi mu ye be ye mu bi se mo se ye wie sika Apostle Opokunyina board of trustees wo ye chairman Sadia be kwa me suspect say Millennium City kura no so na spearhead ye kura e was here investigating no me ye Pentecost member me tua tax me bo afode me kosanda because who lead project be say na se ya bo am na donko na wa man na spending $97 million e wo ho a e ka kura so wa kire dia na say Millennium City no so kura na wo lead years sa da na ye chairman no kura no na say no so kura bibi wom
I see.
I just a Pentecost for no kwano. An se Ghana ha se no, se project we na si wano mo dia. Ya na se ni pani hye de ni akire sa na ye hye se na ye say. But ade yi a Apostle Opokunyina spearhead LED board of trustees or no ye chairman. E ka de ante se me suspect ne say Millennium City na si wano mo no kora no. Eniema kom because asofo na anya wo mo niema se omo ya asofo. Se wo ya asofo a that word no se no mo ka ho no. Omo hu se sebe omo yusu wo mo do ma bokoro no. Omo hu se sebe omo yusu wo mo do ma de sebe nkwase asem. elu to mine e wo mu twi wo mu firi mu but as and when na honorable okuje to abla kwa na say revelation bia bia e dia fa national cathedral ho abien wo benya apostle opoku nyina no ma ba be defend ye ni kroma say honorable okuje to abla kwa de ba say o ma tue sika bi e de amasofu ye ni di mi ensa se ni di nan ya wo de asese contract kusi boaten ye ni kroma say e kwa na board of trustees e di statement ba ye e ba be justify be defend say obo ye obo o man bosia afi nan wi ya no we said this am abase obo man bosia no there's no documentation and character process bi no ma e dey say kusi boaten e bo national cathedral for bosia and one say 2.6 million say US dollars say no ye tabi taxpayers money JB yentimi nto aso say I think say report na this dey ba out no ye here prosecution because Ghana for ya bre
mamenje kron
Mirade
ampa
emen nyina ye yiye am de mi si wonyina
Abigail
oba no ho fe
mo
wade mpa me ho fe men
me to aso Lucius over to aso ada but another one so mobile money donations nearby the money from the report from 2021 2022 2023 mobile money buy any na 39 million 5,635 now at the end of the day almost mobile money na account monsa a mutumi de ye adwuma